It's great to have you here at the HMO Success monthly webinar. I'm so pleased that you've been able to join us tonight. Now, I know I've got people on the call tonight, and you're going to have a fantastic evening with us. We've also got people who might be watching this as a recording. So we've thought about you if you're watching this as a recording. We've already planned how you're not just going to sit back and be passive, even though you might be watching this from your home or office or bedroom. You know, none of it bothers me. I don't mind where you're watching us from this evening, but this is an interactive evening because I want you to get something really special out of tonight's event. And I call it an event because the guys that I'm about to introduce are going to make this evening an event for you. They are Luke and Sara Biddle of the Profit Duo. And I came across Luke and Sara just a few months ago when I was doing a talk at a property event. And I was so impressed by their presence, by their ability to communicate, by their ability to connect with people. I really wanted to stay in touch with them and find out more about what they did. And since then, I've seen them at a couple of events, I've seen them speak, and I just know how passionate they are about helping people to grow their business. So I'm going to let Luke and Sara give an introduction to themselves, but I just want to say that this evening is going to expand your horizons in more ways than you realize, because this isn't just about property. This is about a skill that we all need to learn if we're building a business. And so tonight is called Speak with Impact to Increase Your Income. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Luke and Sara.
Wow, what an introduction, isn't it? Yes.
Wow, yeah, thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for that introduction. It's really lovely to be here. And we're really excited tonight because we've got quite a lot to share, haven't we? So, wonderful. This is Speak with Impact to Increase Your Income, or Communicate with Impact to Increase Your Income. And the reason that we brought this into play is because we are business coaches, and we've noticed that very often people have businesses, and when they come to us, they say that what they need to do is increase their revenue. It's really important to increase their revenue. But what they don't think about is how they're communicating. Three things mostly. The first of which is mindset. We believe that they need to master their mindset so that they're communicating effectively with themselves, first of all, so they understand what it is that they want to communicate. The second thing is the message. They need to be getting the message correct. So what is it they want to say to other people? And the third thing is maximizing your marketing. So once you know what you want to say, and once you've got your message right, the marketing piece is quite straightforward. So there's three elements really, and then at the end of that is monetization. So we're getting more income then. So the three things we're going to focus on tonight are the mindset, message, and marketing.
Or to put it another way, how do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to other people? And how do you talk to the market when you want to get out there and get more clients, more deals, more investors, or whatever it is that makes your business go faster? And I see we've got a few people in the chat. We've got somebody talking about being very nervous about speaking. Thank you very much, John. And we're going to be helping you to improve on that, because as Wendy said, everybody needs to communicate, and that's what we are really passionate about. So that's what we're going to be sharing with you, so you can communicate better with yourself, with people, and with the market.
So a lot of what we're going to be teaching you tonight, or helping you with tonight, is not going to be new. It's going to be old, some of it. And we like to say that there are things that you know, but maybe you're not doing, because it might be common practice, but it's not common. It might be common knowledge, but it's not common practice to be doing it. Because we all have knowledge that we know we should be doing, but we're not embodying it in ourselves. And we often say that we're in the reminder business because we like to remind people of the things they need to be doing to get a better life and to get more success, and the more success they want. Oh, and Jill is saying that she gets tongue-tied when she's talking to investors. Completely understand that, Jill. We're going to really help you with a few things tonight. And this is the thing. Tonight, we're going to give you some really simple things that you can implement in your business straight away. That is what we want to provide you with tonight. And hopefully some inspiration as well to get you really fired up about what it is that you want to achieve.
And what about knowledge, Sarah? Are we going to tell people a bit of knowledge?
Go on. Give them that.
So people always say knowledge is power. Who's heard this before? Put a hand up, put a one in the chat if you've heard knowledge is power. Well, that isn't quite true. Knowledge is potential power. It's the application of knowledge that is power. So drop a 1 in the chat if you've invested in knowledge, if you've paid money and you've invested in yourself to learn knowledge. Got some 1s in the chat? Yeah,
Martin,
plenty of people who have invested.
Yeah.
Now, put a 2 in the chat if you've invested in knowledge and you haven't implemented that knowledge. Who's brave enough to share that they've invested in knowledge and in themselves, but they haven't actually implemented that knowledge?
Yeah, got to totally
Absolutely.
get that. And Raman says, it's not always useful. Absolutely. We've been there as well, haven't we? We've invested in things in the past and we've not understood why we've not implemented it. Well, we're going to look into that tonight, and we're going to give you hopefully some clarity on that, so that you know what to do to go forwards.
And help you to get the best value out of the investment you've already made and turn that potential power into real power.
Because really, you have the built-in potential to play the biggest game of your life. And I always say this, but with property and with an industry like this, you can play the biggest game of your life. There is so much available to you to be able to create the success that you want. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but the opportunity is there. It's only ourselves that are stopping ourselves from moving forward. Now, no matter where you are on this journey, I know some of you will have great portfolios or be building a big portfolio. Maybe you feel like, yeah, I'm doing quite well here. Maybe some of you are just starting on that journey and you're doing your mentoring with Wendy and you're just at the beginning of that. But wherever you are on your journey of property, there is always another level. We do things in stereo sometimes, don't we? It's quite strange. But yeah, there is always another level of learning. It's really important that we know that. Let's not rest on our laurels. So I want to ask you a question. Mindset and skill set. So we talked about knowledge. We talked about knowledge is power. But how much knowledge versus mindset do you think is important to get success? Is it 50% mindset and 50% skill set? Do you think it's about even? Do you think it's 20% skill set? Do you think it's 80% skill set? Do you think it's the other way around? What is your thoughts on this? Or do you think it's a different number? It might be what I've not put in there. But what do you think? What do you think is skill set versus mindset? Okay, Raman, 50-50. Yeah. Excellent, good stuff.
Yeah, what is it that's
20,
keeping
80?
you from the next level? Is it mindset or skill set that's keeping you from the next level? Whatever that means for you, what is it? We've got 50-50, we've got 20-80,
really 100%
mindset.
Oh, okay. Well, shall we reveal the answer?
Yes,
shall we?
If you haven't written it down already, write it down.
John,
no cheating.
80-20, John. Yeah, okay. Excellent. Well, shall we reveal all? Okay. So it's actually 80% psychological, so mindset, versus 20% strategic or skill set. Okay, so first and foremost, according to Tony Robbins, your mind has to be set. Now, that might surprise some of you, might not, but it might surprise some of you to know that it's actually mostly mindset that is driving your ability to achieve the success.
And who is this Tony Robbins character?
Who is this Tony Robbins character? More about him later, actually. More about him later.
Yeah, well, according to many, Tony is the world's leading life and business strategist and influenced and trained with millions of people all over the world. And so knows a thing or two about success, having run, I think he runs about 127 companies.
Something like that. And he has enormous teeth. So we need to get out of our own way. Basically, how many of you, hands up or pop a 1 in the chat, if you feel that you are holding yourself back, you could be doing more, but maybe you're not doing it. And you know what? I'm going to let you into a little secret. Jill, okay. Jill, thank you very much for being honest, Jill. It's very important. Okay, there's quite a few people saying that in the chat. Sarah as well, okay. And Martin, thank you for being honest there, because it's not always, and Raman, it's not always easy to admit this because we feel like it's some kind of failure in some way, but we should be more honest about it because we're all getting in our own way in some ways. And when we first started working with businesses, we used to think that we could just be strategic and just give people tools to help them to grow their business, like cash flow forecasts, like how to delegate, and giving them the tools they need to get a better business and create more success, didn't we? But actually, what we found out was when the next week they came to their coaching session and they hadn't achieved those things, we were there scratching our heads thinking, well,
what's the interference? What's the interference?
What's been going on? Yeah. And we worked out it's mindset. It's 80% mindset, because actually we get in our own way so often that it's really important we expose this and we're really open to this being an issue, so that we can actually help ourselves to move forward and achieve what we want to.
Yeah, so just drop in the chat, mindset 80%.
Okay, so today we like to have fun. I hope you do as well. Excellent. So we're going to have fun. That's the first thing. The second thing is use the chat, hands up, get involved.
And even if you're watching on the replay, just type a 1 anyway, or write it down, or put your hand up like this. So play along, because when we involve our physiology, we really start to learn at a different level, and this will embed it, and it will already start to have an impact on how you think about, how you talk to yourself, and how you make better decisions and take bigger actions.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that a bit later on as well. So just to sow a little seed for you. And also today, we are going to maybe get you a little bit out of your comfort zone. I know. If you get the ick or you start feeling uncomfortable, I want you to embrace it. I want you to feel like there's change about to happen, because that is what's happening. I want you to be okay with it and just notice how you feel. Notice how you feel when you are on the edge of that comfort zone.
And notice when the cringe factor comes in. If you feel the cringe factor, then just lean into it. Don't be afraid of it.
Literally.
Because we'll be talking about, you don't get into your growth zone until you go through a couple of stages first. And a part of that for you might feel a bit cringy, might feel a bit icky, but move on with it and you'll get the results that you want.
And the fourth thing is just participate. We want to see your lovely faces. Those of you that are not on camera, if you could come back onto camera, that'd be great. We want to see you really participate. Oh, I'm just having a look at the chat. Do you think that you need to have pain to have gain? Oh, that's a really good question, Jill. I wouldn't say pain, but discomfort, I would say. Yes, I would say it needs to be a level of discomfort, because if you're not getting out of your comfort zone and you're not feeling uncomfortable, I mean, if it's real pain, if it's like pulling an arm off, then that's quite different. I lack a plan, so I feel like I'm going round in circles.
I just want to answer Jill.
Yeah,
do you think you need to have pain to gain? Well, guess what, Jill? Life is pain. And I know how unpopular that is, but the pain of the decisions and the consequences and the challenges that we have is what helps us to grow. And it's what helps us to grow that allows us to have more fulfillment and achieve what we want in life. So pain is life, but suffering is optional. And what we do when we get in our own way is we suffer unnecessarily, and we beat ourselves up, and we listen to that little voice in our mind that tells us that we're wrong and we're not good enough. And some of these limiting beliefs, that's what makes us suffer. The pain of figuring something out and overcoming a challenge is okay. And we all go through it. That's how we learn. But suffering, that's what we want to stop doing, so that we can just move forward, embrace the suck, as we like to say, and move through it and learn and grow and get the results that we want in life.
Yeah, and I think, part of the discomfort or the pain is that it's temporary. And we know it's temporary. And in order for it not to be suffering, which is more of a longer state, is that we need to recognize it. We need to have awareness that it is uncomfortable and that it is going to be a little bit painful, maybe, I don't know. But we need to recognize it. And some of these tips that we're going to help you with tonight to help you to really recognize that. So Ida, I often think that is because I don't know what to do. Well, that's very interesting, Ida. And I think a lot of people do think that they don't know what to do.
And that is about certainty, which we're going to be talking about in a little while.
Because probably, I would guess, Ida, that you do know what to do. It's just something getting in the way. But yeah, we'll talk about it in a moment. So, excellent. We do these workshops really because as entrepreneurs, we are different, and we know that you probably are as well. You probably feel like maybe you're a bit different because you run your own business. And did you know that if you do run your own business, only 5% of the UK population run their own business? So we are in a minority. So I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. If you have a sense that you are different, if you feel that you're a bit different to the muggle world out there, you feel like maybe these 9 to 5 people who work in a 9 to 5 job and they're quite happy with it. And that's absolutely fine, by the way. I've got no judgment here, but you want something different. You're here to serve a purpose. You feel like you want to do something different and have a different life. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And we got Mosh in the chat saying his family or her family always said they were different. And who else? People have said, you're different, you're crazy, you must be mad, what on earth are you doing? And it's okay to be a little bit crazy, because crazy people change the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
People who aren't crazy, who just want to toe the line, aren't going to make the changes that every single one of you watching this call, taking the time out of your busy day or evening to watch this, you're crazy enough to do it, to take action and to get the things that you want.
Yeah, Martin and John are agreeing too, and Sarah too. And yeah, they think you can't do it. Absolutely. But the thing is, like Luke said, you need to have certainty, because that's what's going to keep you on the path of success. Again, we're going to talk about it in a moment. But this means that if we're in a minority, then we need to think about things a little bit differently. We need to think differently about how we go about things. Because we're here to serve a purpose, we want something different. We want to achieve more. We know there's something we're here to do that's bigger. So I'm going to ask you a question. Hands up if you want to increase your income. Yep, a few people in the chat saying they want to increase their income. Yes, yeah. 4 people, 5 people. Oh, no, there's quite a bit now coming through. Pop, 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 pop. Yeah.
And physically put your hands in the air. Even if you're watching on the replay, put your hand up. Make a commitment to yourself and decide that you want to increase your income, and keep your hand in the air if you want to do it on your own terms.
Yeah.
If you want to create the life that you want.
And that's really important. Look, you want something different. If you want something different, create the new way, the new success in the way that you want it. Otherwise, what is the point? Create your life as you want it. Okay. But in order to get this success, we think that 3 things need to match up. And we've talked about this at the beginning, but the first of which is your mindset. And we demonstrated this a little bit earlier, but getting out of your own way. What you say to yourself about taking big action. What is it that you say? What is that voice in your head actually saying to you? And maybe stopping you from moving. Okay, I can't do it. Yep, that's really common actually, Sarah. That's really common. So thank you for sharing that. People have a similar voice in their head. You're right, we're going to cover that in a second. I'm not qualified or trained. Yep, Jill, a lot of people think that too. That's another common one. Again, we're going to cover all of these things. So do not worry, Sarah and Jill, I've got your back. So, message. What you say to people about what you do. So what is it that you're trying to convey to other people? What is it that you're trying to tell other people about what it is that you want to achieve? And your marketing. So this is what you say to the market and people you don't know really about what it is that you do and the service that you provide. Okay.
Because you, at the heart of your business, are your own brand ambassador. People talk a lot about personal brand. And we've all got our own personal brand. That's how we show up on Facebook or Instagram. But we're also a personal brand for our business. We are the identity of our business, and how we show up and how we think and the decisions that we make and the things that we say are a reflection of the brand that we are building. And that is really how you start to amplify what results you're getting from your communication, whether that's with your mindset, with yourself, with other people on audiences or stages or in local networking meetings, or with your marketing going out through email, going out through social media, going out through direct mail, whatever you choose to communicate to your business, to other people, all of that is driven by your beliefs about yourself, and those will become the beliefs that people have about your business.
And if you don't have these 3 things and these 3 things don't match up, then we have really seen that you either take ineffective action or you take no action at all and nothing changes. And who wants that? No, we don't want that. So what is the reason that this happens? Well, the reason for this is we have a lot of clutter in our heads. You know, we want to serve that purpose. We know what our goals are. Hopefully we have some, if we have some. We know the direction that we want to go in, but maybe, I don't know if anybody else suffers from this, something is getting in the way. And that clutter really leads to emotions, how we feel about our purpose. And also it leads to our action or inaction to create what we want. So we get in our own way and we get overwhelmed and we get uncertain about what it is that we want to achieve.
And when we've got all this clutter in our heads, it's distracting. You know, who feels distracted by the thoughts that they have or other things? Because distractions destroy actions. When you have all these thoughts in your head, it's stopping you do the big action that is going to help you get the big dreams that you really want in your life.
Absolutely, yeah. Martin says he hasn't got clear goals, and we'll talk a little bit about this as well a bit later on, Martin. So we'll cover that too. So also something that we hear coming up a lot is that lack of commitment and the imposter syndrome. Maybe because we haven't done the thing before. This might be familiar with you. It might be that we are out of our comfort zone and that stops us communicating effectively with our audiences. So that's really key because it's stopping you from getting to where you want to get to. Yeah, totally get that, Martin. You know, a lot of people, it really holds them back, this. So, mindset. Let's talk about mindset.
So it's about getting out of your say, because it's what you say to yourself is really your mindset. Thinking, when you think about it, is really the process of asking and answering questions in your own mind. And if you don't believe me, maybe you just asked yourself, is that true? I don't think that's true. That is evidence of thinking being questioning and answering, questioning and answering. And oftentimes our questions and answers are misdirected and we allow our focus to be taken elsewhere. So we start off with great intention about our mindset. We want to do big things. We know what we need to do, but what is it that stops us doing it? Well, it's what we call the interference of the brain, because the brain, unfortunately, is not your friend. The brain is there to keep you alive and to keep you safe. So in your brain, you'll have lots of chatter, you'll have lots of clutter, you'll have lots of limiting beliefs, which we'll talk about in a minute, lots of baggage from the experiences that you've had in life, and underneath all of that, emotions. And emotions are the things that are going to be holding you back. The limiting beliefs plus the emotions that they bring up for you is going to create inaction. And that is going to stop you from getting the results you want because you won't take the actions that you need to take to get the results that you want.
And what we find is that people say things like, this is really how it plays out, I guess, is, oh, I can't speak to the estate agent today because I'm too busy. Or maybe, what if I spend money on marketing and it doesn't work? Or what if I spend money on marketing and it does work and I get overwhelmed and, you know, I get all these inquiries and I don't know what to do and I can't handle them all.
What if people judge me?
Yeah, Jill's agreeing. Yeah. What if people judge me? Absolutely. That's a really big one. What if I end up spending less time with my family and they end up not loving me anymore?
What if I become a bad parent?
Yeah, what if I become a bad parent? That is a big one, actually. A lot of people say that. I'm doing all this property stuff. Oh yeah, but I can't ask investors for money because I don't know really. I've only done one deal, so you know I'm not really that qualified. I think that one came through earlier. You know, why would anyone give me money? So
but I can't do social media. What if somebody doesn't like what I'm doing?
Yeah, so if you're hearing yourself or other people, actually, because this starts to widen your own kind of view on things, starting a sentence with yeah, but, or what if, that is most likely to be ruling your actions. So just be mindful of that. Next time that something slips out of your mouth with a yeah, but, or a what if, just notice whether it's stopping you doing something.
And if it's ruling your actions.
And if it's ruling your actions, yeah.
So what we say to ourselves is defining who we are and how we show up, and it starts to affect our identity. So the words that we use start to define us. So if we change our words, we can start to change our mindset. So there's a concept called a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And I won't go into the science of this too much, but essentially someone with a fixed mindset will say, I'm just not good at this. They'll believe that the limit of their experience and their education and their intelligence is at a limit and they just can't change it. So they're stuck in their own self-beliefs about what they are and aren't capable. Who's ever felt like this? Just drop a 1 in the chat. People with a growth mindset instead realize that the brain can change. And if I'm determined enough, if someone else can do it, I can do it. So if I'm not good at this, I'm not good at this yet. That one small word yet is how we start to have self-belief that even if I can't do it now, even if it's not perfect, all I need to do is keep working at it, keep trying something different, and I will prevail. I'm always 3 feet from gold and I just need to keep going. So just drop in the chat. Do you feel like you maybe have a fixed mindset or do you have a growth mindset?
Yeah.
Because from a scientific perspective, recent scientific studies have proven that the brain has what we call neuroplasticity, and how we think and what we do can start to change the way the brain is and the things that we're capable of. So we can go from I'm afraid of making a mistake to mistakes help me learn and improve. I'll never get this right. Struggles make me stronger. It's good enough. Is that really my best work? Is that who I am? And this is too hard. So this is tough, but so am I, and I can embrace the suck to get what I want. So just drop in the chat. As we've gone through that, are you more fixed mindset or growth mindset? Yes. And which do you want to be moving forward just by changing your words and the way you talk to yourself?
Oh, great. John's actually worked on this a bit. So he says he's got a growth mindset now. Some people are saying they've got growth mindsets, and some people are saying they would really like to have a growth mindset. And some people are saying they've got a fixed mindset. Absolutely. And do you know what? This is all about awareness, guys. It's all about noticing when we're saying things to ourselves. Is it serving us or is it actually not serving us? And it's a great question to ask yourself. But this is the first step of you being aware of what you're actually saying.
Because what you're saying to yourself is causing you to have uncertainty. And what people need in life and in business is certainty. So what do I mean by certainty? Well, one of the things that we all need is certainty. And it's often what stops us from moving forward and doing the things we know that we need to do. So why is certainty important? Because the person with the most certainty in any given situation will influence the other. And if you think about a time when you had absolute certainty about something and you were talking to somebody else, maybe it was about your property journey, maybe it was about your first investment, maybe it was about taking your first investor loan, but you believed that it was going to work. You had total certainty. And when people came to you with their ideas about why you shouldn't do it, you were able to influence them because you had total certainty. And this certainty is absolutely key to the way we communicate with ourselves and the way that we communicate others. So certainty is what we call a human need. Every single person needs some degree of certainty, and you can use that to your advantage both from yourself, talking to yourself, and also when you're talking to other people, whether that's an investor, whether it's someone you're trying to close a deal with, whether it's a deal sourcer, your level of certainty can influence the level of certainty that the other person have. Now, it's just one of the human needs. The first is certainty. The second, humorously enough, is uncertainty, because we also want variety. Who's ever seen the film Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? I know I'm aging myself terribly, but if you've seen this film, you'll definitely remember it, because yes, Bill Murray wakes up and has the same day over and over and over, the same day. Imagine that every single day is the same. He has total certainty about what is going to happen, but he starts to become incredibly frustrated, and he actually does things deliberately differently to get a different result, because he needs variety, because too much certainty is too much. But the right amount of certainty fulfills our human need and allows us to influence others who also have the same need. The third need is connection. We want to connect with people, and it's a part of human life to have relationships, but we also have connections in business. So when we can become someone who people know, like, and trust, we can create rapport or connection with them. And that is another way that we can start to influence the outcome that we want when we're dealing with other people. The fourth one is significance. We all have a need to feel special, that we're different, that we have meaning in our lives, and that what we are saying is important. And this is important because people sometimes need to feel significant. So the other part of communication is listening. And when we can listen effectively, we can help to give other people that feeling of significance that they need. And then the final two, growth and contribution, are what we call the spiritual needs. These are the higher level needs that once we've met the need for certainty, uncertainty, connection, and significance, we can start to lean into growth and contribution. Most entrepreneurs have an aspiration to have growth and contribution, and those that do and can serve others before themselves find it much easier to get outside of their comfort zone and follow that growth to get the rewards that they want and give the contribution in life that they really need. These are all needs. We all need these in different degrees. So make sure that your need for certainty, variety, connection, and significance is helping you to move towards the goals that you want to achieve, and you'll help others to achieve it too.
Absolutely. And somebody's asking in the chat, can they take a screen grab? Absolutely. Anything that you find valuable today, please take a screen grab with your phone. Absolutely. No problem at all, because it's really...
Can I just quickly jump in there as well and just add to this, which is amazing. I love what you're saying, guys. I've hidden my camera because, I don't want to distract people, but I just want to very quickly say this. I think one of the things I've learned about being certain is that when you have certainty and you are committed to something, actually communicating it becomes much easier. Because in your heart of hearts you're being authentic, you're living an authentic life, because what you're saying, what you're doing all lines up. And then it's much easier to actually, if you haven't got all the information that you feel that you need, because you want to satisfy somebody's need for information, let's say it's an investment and you're asking them to invest, if you are congruent with that message, it's much easier to then say, okay, yeah, I understand you need some more information, I'll get that for you. And it's much easier to find it and communicate it, because you yourself are kind of not in this internal conflict where you're thinking, oh, I'm not really too sure about this. If you're sure about it, that is able to be communicated to the person you're talking to in a much more congruent and authentic way. And I think that's what people really respond to.
Absolutely, Wendy. Thank you for that share. Absolutely. And I think that's a really important point that you've made there. It's about being authentic, and very often, people are going to ask for more information. Maybe you're not, as experienced as some people are, and maybe you don't have that information right there. And it's okay to say, you know what, right now I don't have that information, but I'm going to go away and find it. And it's absolutely fine to say that, because you're saying it with authenticity and certainty. Whereas maybe in other situations, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, they've asked me for information and I should have it. Oh my gosh, and I feel so terrible. Well, maybe I should, and you start to stutter and you start to, come off that certainty. Jill is saying that's holding her back. Absolutely. And it's common, Jill. It's really common. Thank you for sharing. It's really common for that to be the case. So, we are going to look at that tonight. We're going to give you some tips and help with moving you along from that. So thank you for sharing that, Wendy. That is really spot on. Yeah. So this certainty is really important, that we have this certainty nailed, and that we feel this certainty, because right now you may not be reaching that potential, reaching the level that you need to reach, or that you could be reaching, because you're getting in your own way, and because you're unsure of yourself. You lack that certainty.
Yeah, and that essentially, when you don't have certainty, that will impact your beliefs about yourself, which will impact the action that you take, which will impact the results that you get, which will impact your belief in yourself, which will impact the action. And it is a downward spiral. But it can also be an upward spiral. Once we crack this certainty by talking to ourselves in the right way, by mastering our emotions and our mindset, we can have absolute certainty. And once we have certainty, and you said it really well, Wendy, once we have certainty, then we can get clarity in what we say, and we're no longer afraid of speaking up, stepping up, and speaking out.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions in the chat. Do you think that life's distractions affect how uncertain or certain that you can be? Do we think that it affects it? Of course it's going to affect it. I would say that. Maybe because you don't feel happy with it. Maybe you're not, you don't feel as though that's serving you. Maybe you don't feel good about the fact that you've got distractions. Maybe you need some help with being able to divide your time effectively and use your time effectively. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're feeling guilty about being pulled back into doing other things and feel distracted. It may be that.
That's a really good point. And I think the answer to that is focus. So we don't experience life as it is. We experience the life that we focus on. And one of the gifts of life is we can always choose our focus. That is a choice that we get to make. If you have a job that is distracting you, then you are choosing to focus on what you don't like about the job. And if we change our focus to what we're certain about, for example, I am going to create a property portfolio, I am going to create my own business, I'm going to make my first investment, I'm going to move out of my need for a paycheck into my need for certainty about the fact that I'm going to build my business. That's what you focus on, because where focus goes, energy flows. And that is how you start to focus on what is right. Because what's wrong is always available, and that's what distracts us. But what's right is also available when we choose to focus on it.
Absolutely. So what is underneath us not reaching our potential? So maybe there are feelings of fear. And just like what Luke was just covering there, you know, that focus, how we communicate with ourselves is really important, because what we focus on creates feeling. And whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. So what we focus on is a decision. And the meaning that you choose creates an emotion. And when you come up with that meaning, it produces that emotion and it spills into everything. And, you know, we don't experience life, we experience the life we focus on. And it really starts with being certain.
So just on that example, if you feel distracted by your job and stuck in your job, if you're focused on your job and the meaning you attach to it is that I can't escape, I'm going to be stuck here forever, I don't have any choices, there's nothing I can do, that is a focus that is going to disempower you and keep you stuck. Whereas if you focus on the great skills that you have, the network that you're building, the people that are in your peer group, and your determination to get things done and take action and stop listening to that little mind, you can focus on how you're going to do it, why you're going to do it, and when you're going to do it.
And that the job is a means to an end, and it's just temporary while you build your portfolio up, for example, you know, and look at it like that. Look at it as though this is what's putting food on the table. For example, you know, this is what you try and focus on it being, try and focus on it being.
We've got an intruder.
We've got an intruder in the room. We have, yeah. Off we go. Come on, off we go.
Yes. So where were we at then? We're on to perfection paralysis. So basically, what we were going to talk about there is the fact that sometimes we feel like things need to be perfect. Who here? Put your hand up. Put your hand up, even if you're listening on the replay, or put a 1 in the chat if you have to be perfect before you can do anything. This is one of the things that really, really holds us back. And it's one of the things you were just about to talk about, perfection paralysis, weren't you?
Sorry, we have a 5-year-old and he doesn't understand that we're in here.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect. Yeah, so I was just going to say that, what were you saying about being a perfectionist? See, look, we're imperfect. You know, things happen to us. You just have to deal with them, don't you? But, you know,
this need for perfection affects usually around half of the people that we work with. They really have a need for things to be perfect, and they will not send things out. They won't send an email, they won't send a text message, they won't send an offer. They'll want to double check and triple check and quadruple check all of their deals before they finally decide that it's ready. And this is what's slowing you down, and you end up getting one thing done perfectly instead of 10 things done imperfectly. And here's something that we're going to share. Now get ready to write this down. What is it, Sarah?
7 out of 10 is the new perfect. Okay? Can you believe that? 7 out of 10 is your new perfect. If you suffer from perfection paralysis, put my teeth in, then, let's not stress about things. Because you know what? When we fail, if we fail at a few of those 10 things that we've done, then we've learned something.
And if you're the sort of person that needs everything to be perfect, is your 7 out of 10 going to be the same as someone else's 7 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Or is your 7 out of 10 going to be someone else's 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
It's all relative and it's all perception. And version 1 is better than version none.
Yes.
So just get it done. Here's another question to think about this. Would you rather it was perfect or would you rather it was fun? Just drop in the chat. Would you rather it was perfect or would you rather it was fun? Fun to do.
Because when we're striving, when we've got perfection paralysis, it doesn't feel fun, does it? It doesn't. It doesn't feel, absolutely. We've got a load of people saying, they want to get it done. They want it to be fun. Absolutely, yeah. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easy. Now you've got the awareness of it. Notice it. Notice what's showing up for you. And if you do feel, so somebody is saying they're a perfectionist. Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people are, and it is paralysis.
And my favourite mantra for this is, we do it messy, we do it fun.
We get it done.
We do it messy, we do it fun, we get it done.
You could write that down as well if you wanted to. Yeah. And one of the things that Luke's recently done with one of his clients, actually, who is a perfectionist and likes to write things really perfection. And if he gets something wrong, then he wants to scrap the paper and start again, is to just make a mark on the paper, wasn't it?
Just scribble something out on your paper and just make it messy deliberately.
It was
and take away
for him.
away that perfection belief.
Yeah, it's interesting, but start to challenge yourself. Get out of that comfort zone we were talking about earlier. Scribble on your paper or something. See how it feels. Get out of that comfort zone. So, why should you listen to us? Well, it's a good question. I know,
Great question.
On a Thursday night, some of you live, some of you not live. Why should you be sitting listening to us? Well, we'll let you into a little secret. We actually love presenting and we love communicating and we love speaking. There's me on a stage. And I first found out that I really loved this a few years ago now, when I started having my own property training. When I had my own property, I was in a mastermind for a year. So I've been where some of you are right now, learning about gaining the knowledge for creating that wonderful life that you want to have. And I found that I was really passionate about speaking on stage. So that's really, I love doing it. So this is why I want to help other people to do that too.
Yeah, and I love speaking on stage as well. And it's just something that I've always loved doing. And more recently, I've been doing more recently, I've been doing a lot of it. But let me tell you why. So this is a picture of us, not a flattering picture, but this was us probably about 4 years ago in 2020. And I was at the top of my game. I was living my dream life, because I'd actually spent 20 years in marketing. I was working for a global distributor that was a multi-billion pound distributor. I was director of marketing. I was creating hundreds of millions of pounds of additional revenue every year through doing very, very technical and sophisticated marketing. And I was earning a 6-figure salary, and I was driving a Tesla, the really fast one that goes like that and kicks you in the back seat when you kind of accelerate. And I'd just become a father for the first time, and everything was absolutely as I wanted it to be. And I was working from home one day in COVID, and I'm sure we were all working from home during COVID, whatever we're doing. And I remember it was a torrential thunderstorm of a day, absolutely pouring down with rain. And I got a phone call, and as I answered it, it was my boss. And when you get one of those phone calls, and you just think something's not right, and you get this eerie sense. Drop a 1 in the chat if you've ever had a call like that where you think something isn't quite right on this. And my boss said to me, he said, "Luke, the world is changing, and the business is changing, and the company is changing, and your role is changing." And just like that, my 20-year career in marketing and everything I'd worked for was just gone, just in that moment. And I had what psychologists call a schism, in that I couldn't quite believe what was happening. I could hear the words, but I couldn't make sense of it. And my brain just got really kind of distorted. And I just didn't know what to do at all. So I just went out. I opened the door and I went outside, and I just started running. In the pouring rain, I just started running and running and running. And as it splashed down all over me, I was soaking wet. And I thought, this is going to be the worst day of my life, because my identity was really tied up in my job. You know, it was everything to me. And if I lost that, what did that mean? And I knew that I had a decision to make, whether this was going to be the worst day of my life or whether it was going to be the best day of my life. And I reminded myself of something that Sarah had shared with me when it was the worst day of her life, when her father nearly died after he had a heart attack and he needed a quadruple bypass operation to save his life. And it was the worst day of your life, wasn't it?
It wasn't nice.
And the reason why that happened is because he was working so hard in his business that he was killing himself. He was being what we call a hero Pete. That's Sarah's dad's name. And he was a hero Pete. He was solving every single problem in the business. He was doing everything for everybody. Anytime there was a problem, Pete will solve it. He was a brilliant engineer, but he wasn't a brilliant manager, and he wasn't a brilliant businessman. He was running a great business, but he was running himself into the ground because the business was running him. And as I ran along that towpath, I thought, how many more hero Petes are there out there on the verge of a heart attack, just about to put their loved ones through what Sarah went through on her worst day of her life. And in that moment, I decided what I needed to do, that I was going to help all of those hero Petes to find a better way to run a business. And that's what led us to look for a way that we could become coaches that could help any business owner to run their business in a better way. But we knew we couldn't do it ourselves. Even though I've got 20 years of marketing experience, Sarah's got 20 years of HR experience, we didn't know how to help these business owners solve this problem. So we looked around to see who had the best system for helping business owners. And we found one called the Profit System. And it's an amazing community of business coaches who have created this system from the ground up with literally hundreds of years of experience and all of the knowledge of the best strategies and knowledge and know-how. And it's worked on literally hundreds of businesses worldwide. So we decided we wanted to invest in it. When I asked the question, how much? The answer was £40,000. Now, that was more than I paid for my first house. Some of you might have bought a house before. Who's bought a house for less than £40,000? Just put a 4 in the chat if you've bought a house for less than £40,000.
No, some people haven't. They've obviously only been in property a short while. That was many years ago.
So it was a lot. It was a big ask.
Wendy has.
Yes, a few years ago. Thanks, Wendy. So I knew that it was the only way forward. So I invested all of my redundancy payment and our savings into this coaching program to help us to be able to save more and more of these hero Petes. And I'm so glad that I did, because we joined it and we became our first clients, which meant that we built our business on solid foundations so that we are working in the right way, using the right business strategies to develop a business. And that helps us to work with our clients to give them freedom from their business rather than the business running them. And it means that we can spend time with our son. You want to put the next slide in? It means that we can spend time with our family. We can do things we want. We have this amazing community. And guess who the standout person is at the front of the room jumping? That's Sarah at our recent conference with all the coaches that we work with. And since then, I've been able to spend more time supporting other people, working with Tony Robbins. And I've traveled all around the world to support him and his participants in training leaders. And it's helped me to grow immeasurably, to become a more exemplary person that I want to become, and be able to help other people by serving others rather than thinking about my own ego. It's one of the ways that I've been able to get outside of that mindset and that negative talk that has stopped me doing some of the things that I want to do. So that's why we do what we do. That's how we've got here. And our mission is to support property business owners to authentically get more deals and investors, be healthy, have fun, and get the life and income they deserve. Because success isn't all about wealth. It sometimes feels like it on the way up, but without the other elements of wealth, your health and your relationships, it's a very lonely road to be wealthy just from a point of a financial viewpoint. Giving that contribution to others, creating growth for yourself is what really leads to fulfillment. And to really have a happy life, you need success, which is a science, and you need fulfillment, which is really an art form. So how we help business owners to deliver that. This is the profit system that I talked about. And basically, we start working with business owners when they're at this low level of overwhelm. We help them to move up to overwork, so they've got a bit more control, through to organize with the right systems and processes in the business, up to the level where they're reporting on their business, because what you measure you can manage and what you manage you can control. So they're an overseer of the business, and then they get up to owner, where they're an investor essentially in the business, and all they're doing is developing the strategy. That's how the system works. But what we found is that for some businesses, particularly for property owners and property investors that are just starting out in their journey, this is far too much of a system. They don't want to build a multi-million-pound business. What they want to build is a solid business that allows them to fulfill their dreams. And maybe that's 3 properties, maybe it's 10, but whatever it is, usually the one thing that all business owners want to do quickly is the revenue and marketing. And from the time that I've spent in marketing, I've learned a lot. And one of the most powerful things that a small business can do is to learn how to communicate effectively with themselves, with their clear message, and with simple marketing that helps them to meet their ideal client, investor, or target. So what we've done is we've pulled together some of the elements of the revenue and marketing side, and we've created the Impact to Income Blueprint, which is a 3-day course. And we talk about mindset mastery with the self-creation roadmap, message mastery, which is our plant the seed formula, marketing mastery to seek your ideal deal system, and then how do you monetize that in a really simple way. And it's the key elements that you can implement into your business quickly and profitably.
Absolutely. So we love doing workshops like this because we really communicate, we can really give people a flavour and really help them to move to that level of success that they want to. So you can implement these things straight away. The next level is our 3-day boot camp, which there is an investment for. Obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit later. And as Luke said, we do also have a coaching program, which doesn't fit every business and every industry, but just to give you an idea of how that might look if you were interested in that journey. But what I want to talk about now is goal setting, because what is it, to coin the Spice Girls, that you really, really want? And I want you to be really clear on that. It's really important that we're clear on that. We talked about this earlier. Some people are really clear on their goals, but a lot of people that we meet just aren't, are they? Business owners just aren't clear on their goals. And I think what we've realized is that people struggle with goal setting really because they say they don't know what it is that they want. They haven't been clear on it. They've got no idea how many deals they want. They just want financial freedom, but there's no number on it. They just know they want more than they have. Maybe that's what they're saying. They just want more than they have. Well, that's not, here's £1. It's more income than you've got.
Or they write their goals out and then they put it in a drawer and they wait for the goals fairy to turn up and deliver it.
So we really want some clarity about what it is that you want to achieve in your business. And I think it's that a lot of people are afraid to say what they want, to voice their opinion. I know that's true of some people. It's really important. Yeah, it is, because, unless you're clear on what it is you want, what the outcome is that you want, then how can you know when you've achieved it? Martin, It's really common. Thank you for sharing. It's really common because you need to have that clarity. You need to take time and sit down and think about what that would mean for you. You can't imagine, for example, Madonna not knowing what she wants. Can you imagine? Her walking into a restaurant? I'm aging myself. Can you imagine her walking to a restaurant and saying, well, I don't know what I want off the menu? She knows exactly what she wants out of life, and she blooming well goes and gets it as well. So, why can't we be like that? So pop a 10 in the chat, no, a 9 in the chat. Pop a 10 in the chat if you don't want to be an ironing board. You want to be a surfboard, of course you do. It's important that you don't give up on your dreams, that you really make sure you know what it is that you want.
And sometimes people don't put what they really want because they think that's too big, it's too out of my grasp. So they'll put a mediocre goal that they think is within their grasp because they think maybe I can achieve that. But the funny thing is that the smaller your goal, the less likely you are to meet it, because thinking small leads you to act even smaller. So you've got to go big. You've got to go, what is it that I really, 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 really want? to coin your Spice Girls phrase.
Absolutely, yeah.
And not only that, write it down and be really, really clear. So, you know, most of you will know about SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And also, you've got to set milestones. If you want to get from the 1st of January to £1 million by the 31st of December, then you're not going to be able to get there by just waiting till November and say, well, how am I doing? You've got to set milestones so you know at the end of January, the end of February, the end of March, how am I doing and what do I need to do to course correct? What bigger action do I need to take in order to get there?
Because, you know, everything lives outside your comfort zone. You know, everything that you want is outside of your comfort zone. So let's have a look at what that means. Because, you know, inside that comfort zone, you know, it's safe, you're in control, you feel secure. Then maybe, you know, you step a little bit outside of it and you might feel a little bit fearful. You know, we talked about fear earlier. You know, you might be affected by other people's opinions. We've had some of that in the chat. You know, people very often will tell you what they think about what you're doing.
And that's where all the what ifs and buts live, isn't it?
It is where the what ifs and buts live, you know, the fine excuses. And then we might, if we get out of our fear zone, we might be in the learning zone then. You know, we're dealing with challenges, we're dealing with problems, maybe we're acquiring new skills, and we're extending the comfort zone because actually that is more comfortable now. You know, what was once a fear zone might actually be a comfort zone now. And it's only when we get out into the blue section, when we feel like when we're actually in growth and when we, you know, we start to conquer those objectives that we want and we start to find purpose.
And that is the roadmap, really. That is how you do it. And people always talk about the how, and the how is to step out of the comfort zone and keep moving through the fear zone, into the learning zone, into the growth zone, but just take action. Start now.
And really, you won't see the how until you 100% commit to it. A lot of people get stuck in the what we call the tyranny of how, when they're starting to think about their goals. Oh, well, I can't have that because I don't know how I'm going to get that. Don't think about the how. Think about what it is that you want to achieve. What's the big goal? What does it look like? The how will only show up when you've committed to it. Just like Wendy said, you know, Wendy was really committed to a cause just recently, weren't you, Wendy? And, you know, she was really, when she's committed
I was.
yeah, absolutely. Wendy, when you were committed to it, how did that, you didn't know how you were going to overturn the law, did you? You didn't know how was that going to happen?
No. In fact, there were many times when I thought it was impossible. It wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to happen. You know, it was as Luke knows, you know, I've spoken to him about this before, that I almost got to a kind of crossroads and I had to really make a decision. Am I committed? Am I going to do this? It was like me coming face to face with myself. How committed am I? Am I prepared to see this through? But it was funny because at that moment where I made that decision that I am going to do it, come what may, however long it takes, everything changed. And it was like things started to motor and we started to make progress and things started to happen. So I think it's absolutely true that you don't know how, but there's something that, again, I think it's congruence. It kind of lines up within you and you find a way. And other people see that and they get behind you. And as you said, people want certainty. So when they see that, they follow it. And I think that's maybe what changed, you know, the direction of travel for our campaign. And, you know, we eventually won.
And that's it. You just needed to decide, didn't you? You had that moment of decision where your destiny was shaped. And the end result became an inevitability because you decided 100% committed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and you had what we call goal certainty.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people on the call have goal certainty. They know what it is. It's written down. They read it every single day. It's SMART, as I said before. They've got milestones along the way and they plan what they're going to do in 30, 60 and 90-day chunks. And I know from our conversation, that's exactly how you approached it, Wendy. You knew exactly what you were going to do, what you needed to do, when you did it. And even if you didn't know whether it worked, you did it anyway, because you figured out what didn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really key, you know. And so if you do have goals, hopefully you have, some of you have, and are they SMART? Do you have milestones? And do you believe that you can actually do it? Do you have the certainty that you can actually achieve that? And it's interesting because I would offer that if you do have goal certainty, an exercise if you do have goals that are SMART and you've got them written down, I would offer you to sit down and spend 5 minutes to think about how certain you are that you will achieve it. Because that really brings it into sharp focus. It really brings it into, you've got to get that level of certainty up.
You've got to see the result now in advance. You've got to know it's going to happen and see it and visualize it. And that's how winners get the result. They see it happening, they visualize it, and then they follow their instincts.
Absolutely. So we've got a little video to illustrate a point here, which I think you will find very, very helpful and very, very emotional as well.
Let's enjoy it.
I'll be fine.
Have fun.
I'll do it. Well, here goes something, I guess. Okay, you can do this. I'm gonna jump.
You got it.
Whoa, my ski's slipping off.
Just remember, never snowplow, okay?
No snow for the house.
Keep it straight, you'll be fine.
Okay.
You can go on the 20.
Straight. Do you go faster on the end run?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Is it any steeper, do you think? Not much?
Same steepness, it's just longer.
Well, just longer. Just longer. Just a bigger 20, that's all.
Yep. Have
It's a
fun.
bigger 20. Go ahead. You got this. I got it. It's fine. You'll be fine. Okay. Here.
The longer you wait, you'll be more scared.
I go. Yeah! Just the suspense at the top at the first time freaks me out. That's the only thing. It's so fun! Huh? 60 seems like nothing now. Woo!
Great, isn't it?
That's fantastic.
I know, and it's so emotional. Every time I watch it, I feel the emotion.
Yes.
Tara.
And the terror and the fear and then the exhilaration.
Yes.
We all go through that, don't we, when we're on the precipice of doing something we've not done before. We all go through those feelings. They're so common, but we can stop ourselves. Did you see how she was, I think it's a little girl, she was stopping herself. Oh, but what if, but she went anyway.
It was interesting because there was obviously some parental encouragement going on, wasn't there? Some, it felt like it was the dad or the mother saying, no, go on, you can do it. Yep, it's just another 20 meters longer. And no, it's okay. It's this degree. No, it's going to be okay. They obviously had faith that this daughter or son could do it, but the child themselves didn't believe they could do it. But as soon as they get going, it's like, woo, I'm doing it, woohoo! And it's this emotion changes like immediately, doesn't it? Immediately they start to enjoy it because they think, hey, I could do it. And isn't it interesting that they don't just kind of the child doesn't just sort of do it and kind of go, oh, I'm doing it. They're actively really enjoying it. I think that's what really struck me about it.
Good point, Wendy, actually, because it is really an important point that you've just made there, because actually, we should enjoy the journey. It shouldn't be painful. We should have fun. We should be doing it with a smile on our face, because otherwise, what is the point? So yeah, absolutely. Enjoyment is really key. But look at that exhilaration, and I think that just really illustrates the point, doesn't it? That
I think it summarizes it in one statement, which is, our deepest desire is on the other side of our greatest fear.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so if anyone's ever done a skydive, it's exactly the same thing. There's all this fear and anxiety and build up, and then there's this moment. It's the only moment when you actually have any danger at all, and then it's amazing. And any challenge that is outside of our comfort zone is exactly like that. And we just need to reinforce that and keep leaning forward into taking action, massive, imperfect action.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do, and you can't do anything except go. Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, she could have turned around and gone back, but I don't think that would be, well, obviously that can happen. But she was obviously committed to going. So, yeah. So, rule 1 to a mindset that will get you more success is that your brain is not on your side. And we saw that in there. You know, there was that, but what if going on in her head. And really, absolutely. But really, you know, we there are things that we want, but fear can really stop us. And it stops us. Our limiting beliefs stop us from moving along to the life that we want. Your brain wants to keep you alive, nothing more. And so that's a really key thing as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do a little exercise with you, and you're going to love this. Because this makes you really aware. And I've talked about this a few times today, but this is about awareness. Now, I know there are some of you that are watching on the replay, so I'd really love you to
Get involved anyway.
and get involved in it, because it's in getting involved that you actually get the awareness. If you just sit and watch it, it's not going to have the same effect, but that's up to you. I shall leave it up to you. So this was really groundbreaking for me when I first did this exercise, because it really makes you notice what your limiting beliefs are. And the limiting beliefs are a bit like the Loch Ness monster. You know, you can only deal with them when the head of the monster comes up out of the water. You can't deal with it unless you see it. So that's what we're going to do today. Thank you. Yeah. So,
and the great thing is you're going to get this in your body.
Yeah.
So you're really going to remember it.
You are going to remember it. And that's why I want you to play along today. Luke's going to demonstrate for me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a really long list here of limiting beliefs. And these are real. When we've said to people, you can achieve your goal, these are actual real things that people have said to us as a result of us saying that. So what I want to do is, when I read these out, if you think it applies to you, I want you, and you have this limiting belief, I want you to sit. If you're sitting down now, I want you to stand up. And then the second one that I read out, if you feel like, yeah, that's me as well, I want you to sit down. And then the third one, if you feel like it applies to you, I want you to stand up. Then maybe the fourth one doesn't. Stay where you are. Okay, so I want you to move when you feel as though this limiting belief applies to you, but stand still if it doesn't.
And I'm going to demonstrate as we go through.
Okay.
I'm going to join in with this as well.
Yeah,
okay,
please
Wendy,
do, Wendy.
it'll be me and you
Please
together,
do.
Wendy.
That's right. And everybody else can do
else.
this, but you're not on camera. I've hidden your cameras.
That's
So
fine.
you can only see me and Luke and Sarah. The rest of you are okay. The
fine.
recording doesn't include you, so you're safe. Your secret's safe with us.
That's very kind, Wendy. That's very kind, because people might be a bit shy about it. But there are 3 rules that apply here. The first one is, this is like being pregnant. It's either a yes or a no. You're either pregnant or you're not. It's not, oh, maybe on a Thursday or sometimes on a Tuesday, or no. It's yes or no. Do I feel like this is a limiting belief? Yes or no. So we do the movement. If you feel that your body is moving, but something in your head is stopping you,
it's a yes.
It's a yes. You have that limiting belief. So yes. So if you're ready,
I'm ready.
are you ready
Yep.
to demonstrate? Okay.
So do we start sitting down, or we start
sitting
standing up?
down.
Start sitting down.
I'll sit down with everybody.
Yeah.
And what are the rules? What are the 2?
And I will say next after each one, because sometimes people think that 2 together are, so there's quite a long list.
And then
So,
the first one?
yeah. So the first one is, I don't.
No, on the first one, people will say, they think no one else will go.
Oh, yes. So sometimes when we do this, we often do this in a live room. And when we do it in a live room, sometimes people think, oh, well, I don't know.
I don't want to move in
in
case no one else does.
In case no one else does. I'm scared of judgment, okay? But just move, because our experience is that most of the room, 50%, it's normally 50-50 split.
We'll go with the
We'll
first one.
go with the first one. Okay, so don't be afraid, just move if you feel it's you. Okay, are you ready? So, I don't know enough to achieve my goal. Next, I'm not good enough to achieve my goal. Next, I don't have the right personality to succeed in business. Next, if I market myself, I'm a fraud. Next, who would even want what I'm offering? Next, I have nothing to offer people. Next, there's too many competitors out there. Next, I'll have to fake it for people to buy stuff from me. Next, I lack focus. Next, I can't do this. Next, it's not worth it. Next, I'm not worth it. Next, now is not the right time. Next, I'll do it later. Next, I'll wait a while to do it till I'm ready. Next, I'm not ready. Next, I couldn't handle all those deals anyway. Next, what if I get overwhelmed? Next, I can't have it all. Next, they won't pay for this. Next, I'm no good at sales. Next, don't have what it takes. Next, I'm too disorganized. Next, I'm too busy. Next, I'll have to get a babysitter. Next, I don't know what to do. Next, I'm not motivated enough for this. Next, I shouldn't charge for this. Next, I'll just do it for free. Next, if I promote myself, I'll come across like a sleazy used car salesman. Next, I won't be able to handle it when it happens anyway. Next, I won't have any fun at all. Next, I'll have to do a half-hearted job. Next, it needs to be perfect.
Well, that's got the blood flowing.
Well done, everybody, for doing
Well yes.
done. And I just wonder, I'm curious, what did you get from that exercise? Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd invite you to, thank you, Martin, I'm glad you got a lot from it. What I'd invite you to do is think about the ones that you remember moving on. What are the ones that you remember moving on, and write them down? Might be one, might be two, might be a couple, but just write them down.
Top 3 or 4 that you've stood up or sat down to.
Jill, thank you for being honest. You realise your limiting beliefs. Absolutely, you're definitely holding yourself back. Absolutely. And we don't realise we're doing it. And the thing is, the one that you remember moving the most on is usually your default position. It's usually when somebody asks you to do something out of your comfort zone, or you want to do something that's going to take you out of your comfort zone, that is your default position. So it's very interesting. We have that awareness now of those things that go on. And also a really big learning is that there are a lot of people that feel like this too. It's not just you. You're not strange. You're not, we all have limiting beliefs.
Yeah, and Jill says, I do have limiting beliefs. I'm definitely holding back, says Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for things to be perfect. I think I don't know enough. I'm worried I'll be overwhelmed. So these are some of the ones that are common. But what's the final step, Sarah?
Yeah, it's the writing it down.
But is there a primary one that people will have?
No.
What one that kind of thinks the service that is the one that comes up more than any other?
I've just
Oh,
said
okay,
that.
sorry.
He's not been paying attention. I
was
said
reading
that.
the chat.
I said write
I've
it
written
down.
5 down.
Yeah, they've written
Okay.
it down. Yeah, and hopefully you've written it down anyway. Okay. So, what did you learn? What action are you committed to? Now we've come to the end of part 1. We've learned so much about mindset, but what are you going to do differently? Because there's no point in coming to this and not taking any action. Remember, knowledge is potential power until we put it into action. So what are you going to do differently? What are you going to know? Maybe you're going to be more aware of the things you're saying to yourself. Maybe it is about awareness. Maybe it's noticing things. Make a plan, Raman. I've written down a number of things. Not being committed to a plan of action, Sarah. Well done. Yeah, absolutely. Set a clear goal, Martin. Make sure that your goal is what you want, first of all, but make sure that it's smart as well, Martin.
And a big, hairy, audacious goal,
big,
as we
hairy,
like to
audacious
say.
goal. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so your message. We're going to move on to message next. So when somebody asks you what you do, what is it that you say? because it's really important that we have clarity on this. A lot of business owners, you know, if they're at a networking event, which is really common in the property world, you know, we meet somebody, we shake their hand. Hi, what do you do?
Oh, well, well, I do this thing and I help people who have got problems with their building stacks and waste deposits and disposals, and it's complicated.
Yeah, I'm turned off, man. I don't even know what he's saying, right? If you are not clear and you do not have clarity and you do not have certainty within yourself and your message, then how am I going to be engaging him? I'm not. How's he going to be engaging me, in other words? But how am I going to be engaging the other person as to what it is that we do? So we don't want to make it complex. We want to make it really simple.
Because as we know, the brain is just there to keep us alive. It doesn't care what we want. It just wants to make things simple and keep us alive. So if your description is confusing, if you're confused, you lose. Because if someone's got to use brain calories that could be keeping them alive, instead of keeping them alive, they're not going to listen to what you do and they're not going to want to work with you.
Absolutely. A bit like Luke not listening to what I was saying earlier, yeah?
Well, it's not perfect, but, you know, it's a 7 out of 10.
So what is it that message is trying to achieve? So you have an intention. Your intention is for that person to understand your message, for you to be communicating effectively. But what happens? You get interferences.
Yeah, we have limiting beliefs, we have feelings, and let me tell you that feelings is the number one reason why we don't do things and we aren't where we want to be, because we just don't feel like it. It's our brain saying, oh, I don't feel like that. I've got emotion around it and I don't feel like I want to do it. Maybe one of my limiting beliefs has come up. We have some uncertainty about what the message is, and that means that we don't speak with clarity. There's all this noise. How do other people speak? What's this stuff on social media? And I'm just not good at speaking like that, and I can't do my 20-second pitch because I'm too self-conscious, because I'm thinking about, you know, what will people think of me? So all of these interferences from our fabulous brain that just wants to keep us alive means that the interpretation that people we are speaking to is often wrong, and it isn't effective and clear. So, what is it about our message that gets confused? Well, this is a very common and often cited old scientific study that was done many years ago, but commonly accepted wisdom is that 7% of our communication is words. Only 7%. So we've got to get the right words, and that starts with how we communicate with ourselves, which we talked about earlier, and then how we communicate with others. 38%, a whopping 38% is how you say it. It's your tonality, it's the way you use your voice. So if I say to you, Sarah, I love you, what am I communicating?
I wouldn't believe it.
What am I communicating? Or I hate you, I just can't stand you.
I still wouldn't believe it.
The words are saying one thing, but how I'm saying it is conveying another one. And sometimes when we're not clear about what we want to communicate, we give mixed messages, because we might say, I'm really confident about the deal and I know that it's going to work, so you should definitely invest with me.
Yeah.
You know.
You should really invest with me?
Yeah, do you want to invest with me? I think you should invest with me. You know, we can use our voice in positive ways to show certainty, and we can use our voice in disempowering ways that promotes how uncertain we are. And finally, we've got 55% of how you communicate with your body. And the thing about the body, particularly when it comes to public speaking, is that we have tells. You know, any of you who play poker will know that you will have a physical tell, and that is you communicating with your body. And if you're thinking negative, disempowering thoughts in your brain, that's how you communicate with yourself. How you say things and how you communicate with your body will really tell the true tale of what's being said. What have we got?
Yeah, do you think it's obvious to people if you're not committed? Yes, Martin.
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
Because it's 55% of what you communicate. Well, actually, plus the 38% if your tonality's off too.
And let me give you an example. If you've ever seen a speaker who wasn't confident, and we've seen that, and it just makes us feel, oh, I feel so bad for them. What's really happening is we feel bad because we're connecting emotionally with the emotions that that person is feeling. What they're saying might be, yes, I'm saying all the right words, I've definitely got the right deals and I can use your money. But subconsciously and emotionally, that person is telegraphing a lack of certainty and we feel it as an audience. So if you
Yes.
can't speak with certainty and confidence and clarity when you're addressing an audience, however large or small, you're not going to be giving them the confidence they need to work with you, and you won't be getting the investors, the deals, or the deal sourcing that you want from your business. So learning how to speak effectively with words, with tonality, and with your body language is critical to getting clear communication, getting what you want and those goals that you want in your business.
And I want to help you to do that tonight. Something that we're going to just touch on, because in our 3-day we go through this in a lot more detail, but I want you to be able to take something away tonight that really does help you to communicate your message and get you clarity over to potential investors, etc. So why is storytelling important to your message? Well, storytelling is so key to communication, because what we want to do, what we want to convey is we want to convey interest. We want to make that person emotionally invested in what we're saying. We want them to be captivated by our words, to be interested to find out more. And stories create this emotional connection to people, because people make decisions for emotional reasons, but they justify it for logical reasons. So it's emotional, the decisions that are made, so it's more made with your heart than your head, actually. And also the second reason is that people remember stories in 7 areas of their brain. So when you tell a story to somebody, they are remembering it, their whole brain is actually lighting up. So if you can do that for somebody else, that person can feel emotionally connected to you. And people buy from people, and they feel connected to people and build relationships with people that they want to be like, that they feel that they've got a connection with. Because remember, that connection is a human need. And so when they have that connection, it's really important. So there are a number of reasons why storytelling has such an effect.
And as humans, we relate stories. That's right, John.
Yeah,
Great
we do.
point.
So I want to help you create what we call a business one-liner. And this is really for clients who want more sales in their business. They've really found it groundbreaking, and it's a real differentiator to make you really memorable. So we haven't today got time to go into what I'd really love to share with you, which is the whole piece of this story brand, which I will talk to you about if you come on the 3-day. But we want to give you a framework where you can effortlessly bring a new identity or vision into your company, so that people that you talk to and communicate with can really feel inspired by it.
So what's a business one-liner, Sarah?
That's a really good question. So a business one-liner is in 3 parts. And it's in 3 parts because it talks about the problem that you solve. It then gives the solution that you give to that problem and the result that happens as your solution interacts with the problem and gives a result. I will show you exactly what I mean now. So here are 3 examples that I've picked out. Managing your properties shouldn't be a headache. We handle everything from tenant relations to maintenance, so you can enjoy a steady income and peace of mind. So notice that managing your property shouldn't be a headache. The problem is that that person feels as though managing their properties is a headache. So you're stating a fact. Managing properties shouldn't be a headache. Yes, that's my problem. Yes, I feel like it is. We handle everything from tenant relations to maintenance. Oh my gosh, do you? That's amazing. You solved my problem. So you can enjoy a steady income and peace of mind. Oh, what a great solution. Do you see? Let's have a look at
Problem, solution, result.
Yeah, let's have a look at the second one. This is from an estate agency. Finding the perfect home can be overwhelming. Yes, that is the problem that the home buyer is finding, yeah? We simplify the buying process and match you with your dream property. Wow, doesn't that sound enticing? Ensuring that you find a place that you truly love. Wow, I want to work with that estate agent, don't you?
So why don't we do a quick exercise just to see how your business can use this one-liner in 3-part solution. So just to remind you, we've got the problem, we've got the solution and the result. So just take 60 seconds to 2 minutes, just have a quick write down for your business. What is the problem that you solve? Not the problem for you, but the problem for your customer. What is the solution? How do you do it? And what is the result that your customer gets?
So we give you some time now to just have a think about it and pop something in the chat if you are ready when you've finished, if you want to share.
And what I'll do is I'll just pause the recording for a minute, guys, while everyone's doing this.
Yes, do that. Cool.
Right, okay, had a little break there just to do that. So you're
Excellent.
going to carry on, guys.
Yeah, so we've had quite a good discussion during that break. A lot of you, well, 3 of you, we've gone through your examples. So really good, really well thought out examples. And look, we also said that some of you have requested that you might want some extra help with this. And we've said that we'll be able to help you if you want to have a call with us after today's session. We'll be happy to go through this and help you.
Just to finesse it a little bit, yes.
Finesse it a bit more. I've just got a couple coming through in the chat actually from...
Okay, so let's move on now, because once we're live.
We are live.
Once you've got your message, where are you going to talk about? Well, anywhere, because all the world's a stage. Shakespeare said it best. So whether it is at a meeting with, one-to-one with somebody, whether it is a local networking event, whether it's an invitation to go and speak at a local charity that you work with, wherever it is, practice doing your one-liner and what you do in your business as much as you can and get it really clear. And the next thing you might want to do is think about, okay, what's next for me? How can I improve my speaking? And we don't have time to go into all these, but the top 5 speaking tips that we've learned that we share with our clients is the number 1 is storytelling. We talked a little bit about that, but how do you create a story that connects emotionally with your audience so that you have that emotional connection, so you create rapport so they know, like, and trust you quickly? How do you use vocal variety? Your voice can be your friend or your voice can be your enemy, because we can actually use the voice to create more rapport or we can create less rapport. And using your voice effectively and knowing when to go up, when to go down, and use different postures is really key to be able to be authoritative and powerful when you're speaking. You're also going to need lots of energy. So how do we create energy? And that's through using our physiology. So we also talk about lots of ways you can use your physiology effectively, moving with purpose when you're talking on stage or even when you're talking on a Zoom call like this. And finally, practice, practice, practice. And we also recommend recording yourself and watching yourself back so you can see what you're doing really well and what needs more work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great tips there. Great tips there. So let's move on to marketing. And this is really about what you say to the market. And we cover so much of this in our 3-day course. But what I really want to do is just give you a little overview tonight about how to target your marketing. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples, aren't we, of people we've actually worked with where we've improved their marketing. And that's not something that we actually do, but
It's something I did for 20 years, and I use very, very sophisticated marketing. And a lot of marketing, is you just don't need it. You just want to do really brilliant basics. So learning what you need to do. So we're going to give some really quick tips here that if you just implement one of these, it's going to skyrocket your marketing just from what we're sharing today on the call.
So, did you know that people buy things to either get away from something, so something they don't like pain, or they go towards something they do like, which is pleasure. So,
and it's worth noticing that 90% of the time people are moving away from a pain. This is why newspapers sell with bad news, because when things are good, people are less likely to take action. But when people are in pain, they're looking for an immediate solution. So the more connected you can get with your customer's pain point, you can get into the conversation in their head, and we'll talk about that in a minute, the more likely they are to want to work with you and work with you now, which is exactly the time that you want to work with a new client.
Something that's really important, if you want to be understood, then you need to seek first to understand. And this is by one of the greats, Stephen Covey, who talked about this in his 7 effective habits of... No.
7 habits of highly effective people.
Highly effective people, sorry. Knew there was a 7 in there. But yeah, seek first to understand. So you've got to really understand the conversation that's going on in your investor's head. Now, we talked a little bit about this with the one-liner, if you remember. The problem is not the problem you have, but it's the problem that the person you're trying to serve has. So that, in this case, would be the investor, or maybe the person that's selling the house, etc., etc. Whoever that is for you, it's thinking about who that would be and what's the conversation going on in their head. And you need to market in their language, the way they think about things, not yours. Because people buy solutions to problems. That's right. Like we talked about earlier, solutions to problems, not your time, not your products or your services and how it does this and it's got this widget and it's got this and it flies across the room and it does this, something. If that's not important to them because they're asking what question? What's in it for me? You
Everyone's
need to be able
favourite
to
radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me?
You need to be able to solve that to communicate effectively.
So marketing, essentially, you've got an intention. I want to get my message out there. I want to market to people. I want to send them emails. I want to get on social. I want to do marketing. But what do I say in my marketing? And this is where your brain kicks in again, trying to keep you alive rather than serving you and helping you to meet your goals. Because your brain wants to tell you, ooh, let's tell them everything that I know because I'm ever so smart and I'm ever so clever and they need to know how clever I am. Let's tell them about everything I do because I don't want them to miss out on all of the great products and services that I've got so that they know what I do that's better than everybody else. I want to talk in my language because I think that my voice is right and how I talk about my business is oftentimes how I think I should be selling it. Features of my service, oh, I do this, I do that, I do the other. And information overload, we try to put too much in and we don't know what to take out because we're talking our language rather than the customer's language. And the outcome of that is that our customers become inattentive. And in this economy right now, this is the attention economy. The most valuable thing is the attention of people. That's why Google and all of the other advertising platforms make so much money out of getting people's attention and keeping it in their platforms. So if you want to have a hope of getting someone's attention, you've got to have marketing that speaks their language and stops the scroll and gives them an offer that is irresistible because it solves their problem.
Yeah, something that we've recently heard from Stephen Bartlett is that if you want to grab somebody's attention, do you want to tell this story? Because you love this story.
Yeah, so imagine a nurse who's been working a 16-hour shift. She's just finished. She's absolutely exhausted. It's late at night. It's pouring down with rain. It's terrible weather. She goes out. She gets into her car. As she starts to drive home, oh my goodness, she's got a flat tire. As she gets out of the car to go and inspect the damage, it's pouring down with rain. She can't even see, it's raining so heavily. She pulls her phone out of her pocket. She tries to find somebody who can help her to fix the puncture on her tire. And it's so late, she's so tired. And she sees your advert and it's so enticing that it stops her scroll. And that's how good an advert needs to be to stop people scrolling these days.
So we want to show you what that might look like in reality. Now, I know some of you are not going to be doing adverts. You're not going to be necessarily spending a lot of time on social. You might be, but you might not be. I know that that may not be the case, but this is to illustrate a point of how you get people's attention. So I'm just going to...
So we start off, let's have a look at the first one.
Okay.
So we start off, next slide. We start off with all the information that we've got, and we want to give people all the information so they know what we do and they have clarity on what we can do for them. If you look at this, some people might like this because it's what they see a lot of, but it doesn't show what's in it for me. If I want to spend lots of time reading this, I'm going to understand what the offer is, and maybe it's something that might help me. So we go to the next stage. We put on a clear offer. This is a one-liner, similar to what we did with the one-liner that we use when we're communicating. Turn your tenants into guests for less hassle and more cash. So we're giving people what's in it for me. You can turn your tenants into guests. It'll give you less hassle and more cash. If you want to know more, you can read on. So it's a bit more enticing and it's easier on the eye. It burns less calories to figure it out. If we want to go to the next level, then we want to create something that is a bit more visual and emotionally connecting. I was saying resolution there. More of an emotional connection. So it stops the scroll and it creates this story in their mind that they could be like this happy little dog on a surfboard out in the ocean. Rather than spending all their time managing their HMO rooms, they can get 3 times more cash flow, hassle-free, so they can go and do something less boring instead, like surfing with this dog. So we're telling a story rather than just giving them the basics. So that is our really, really quick run through of how to get your marketing from where it is now to where it needs to be by talking your customers' language. So who's feeling inspired?
Thank you, Ida.
Love the dog,
yeah,
Ida.
the dog's inspired, isn't it? Yeah. So today we've had a whistle stops tour through mindset and marketing and message. So
Talked
who's feeling
about the
inspired?
need for certainty,
Yeah, we've
talked about the need for clarity,
clarity.
and talked about the need for consistency and doing the right things, talking your customers' language when you are doing your marketing.
Absolutely. And so hopefully, well, I know that you will be taking away from this some things, some real nuggets, some massive golden nuggets that you will be able to put straight away into your business.
And just take a moment now to just write those down. What have you taken away? Because the question we want to ask you is, what's next and what action do you need to take now? So just take a moment to write that down. Write it in the chat if you're here, but make sure you take it away so you know with certainty what action you need to take now. Because as we've talked about all the way through this, certainty is what you need to take action and to get the result that you want. And you've got to have certainty to get outside of the little mind that's going to be talking to you and telling you all the reason why you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
so
Mark.
do you have certainty right now, or will you slip back into the yeah buts and what ifs?
No.
Because it can happen. You know, after this call, will the momentum fade, or are you fully committed?
Great.
Or do you want to continue the journey with us? If you want to know more about how you can earn more income by improving how you speak with impact, come and join us on our 3-day course where we talk about mindset mastery, which is the self-creation roadmap, where we'll talk to you about mastering your state so you can create empowering stories and strategies and get absolute certainty anchored into your body so you can conjure it up at any time. How you can master your emotion and create energy in motion, create boundless energy so that you've got the energy to do what you need to do and communicate effectively.
Yeah, and we're going to be helping you to real smash through those limiting beliefs. We've really just scratched the surface today. Not let my limiting beliefs hold me back. Absolutely, Ida. I agree. And, you know, this is something that everybody needs to learn. I think they should be teaching this in schools.
Yeah.
But, and also giving you habits and disciplines for the blueprint for success.
And that's the foundations really of mastering your mindset. Next, we've got the message mastery and how you can be prepared to speak up with confidence at every opportunity. At a moment's notice, you're always ready to stand up and speak up. How you can engage audiences to create an emotional connection and rapport immediately. How you create the right energy on stage to transform your prospects into partners. And we talk about DISC. We didn't talk about that today, but this is a process and a system that allows you to understand how you communicate, what your natural communication style is, and how you can understand the styles of others so that you can match and mirror and get rapport with any audience you find yourself in front of.
It's really powerful. And we actually use that between ourselves in a relationship. It's taken our relationship to another level, but that's another conversation. If you're interested to find out more, then we've got something for you in the end. And also day 3 is marketing mastery and monetization. So connecting emotionally with story brand. We deep dive into that. We go into that into a lot more detail. And we create for you an effective marketing plan that's going to work. So you're not feeling stuck. You're not feeling like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? It's effective. It's in there. It's locked in. You know what you're doing. We're going to help you to define your exciting offer. And we're really going to help you with your KPIs so you know what you need to measure how close you are getting to your success and your goals.
And if that wasn't enough, we can help you develop your systems, define and map out your customer journey, help you to align your entire business vision, mission and values, create the right language in your business, because it's okay having the right language for yourself, but if you are running a business and you want to scale it up, you're going to need behaviors and culture that can echo that kind of transformational language. And finally, how to create exponential thinking to really take you to 10x and beyond your business. Wow. Finally, a word from Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett said, invest in yourself. And if you don't know Warren Buffett, he's a pretty serious investor whose net worth, I think, is 813 billion, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Huge investor. And Warren Buffett said the one easy way to become worth 50% more than you are now, at least, is to hone your communication skills. Because if you can't communicate, it's like winking at a girl in the dark. Nothing happens. You can have all the brain power in the world, but you have to be able to transmit it. And the transmission is communication. And that's why we've taken this part of the profit system and we've created something that is a no-brainer, we think, where you can just come along and in 3 days master communication with yourself, with others, and with the market, so you can really start to drive your business forward no matter how big or small it is. Now, what's the investment for this? Very quickly, our usual investment with no offers and no discounts is $2,997 for the 3-day course. But because we love Wendy Whitaker-Large absolutely so much, we've got a special offer for all of you in her community. So instead of being $2,997 for the 3-day bootcamp, we're going to give you a one-to-one mentoring call with Sarah and myself, normally $997, completely free. We're going to give you the disc profiling analysis and the training so you know what your preferred disc profiling style is and that of other people. Normal price for that session is $997. Going to do that completely free. Total value of $4,991. But for Wendy's amazing followers and guests, we're just doing it for one payment of paid in full of $997. That's just $997 or 3 payments of only £399. It's entirely your choice, whatever works best for you. If you want to join us for this live 3-day seminar, we're going to be doing that in Birmingham, or you can join us virtually, whatever makes sense for you. And you can take your personal brand and property business to the next level. Whatever the next level is for you, this is going to help you to get there by investing in your personal brand and your property business so you can communicate effectively. The first course is going to be on November the 15th, 16th, and 17th. Sorry, the next one is going to be November the 15th, 16th, and 17th. If that makes sense for you, let us know. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you can't make those dates, don't worry. Get in touch with us and we can let you know when the next dates are going to be in the new year, if that makes more sense for you. So, if you want to do that, if that speaks to you and you've just made a decision, I definitely need this, guys. I want to know more. I want to get involved now. I need this in my life. You can call us on 07973 444 848. Or if you'd like to know a little bit more, or if you just want to have a conversation with us to hone that one-liner for your business even better from where it is right now, we'd love to talk to you, have a chat with you about how we can help you in your business. You can book a call to find out more. We've got the QR code on the screen there, or you can go to our website at theprofitduo.co.uk/discovery-call, and you can book a call in there with Sarah and myself. Or you can email luke@theprofitduo.co.uk, or very selfishly, I've put my own email on there. You could also email sarah@theprofitduo.co.uk if that makes more sense for you.
All right, so we've got some questions in the chat. What are your New Year dates? As I'm interested, Jill. Excellent, Jill. We don't know what they are going to be yet, but they're probably likely to be in February. We're kind of just sketching that out right now.
We're doing a goal setting workshop in January.
Yeah, normally that's really big and involved, the goal setting. We're doing a number of goal setting workshops in January. So our time is taken up by doing that, really, because it's really important to maximise the goal setting and the time of year that it is for you to get the best goals in 2025. So yeah, of course. Jill, do you want to pop your information in the chat and we will give you a call tomorrow and let's have a chat about where what would make most sense for you next.
Yeah, we'll arrange those dates quickly then, shall we?
Yeah, let's
and can partners come? Yes, absolutely. Partners are welcome. You don't have to have been on this call. Of course, the recording will be available from Wendy. So if you do have a partner or a friend or somebody else, maybe a partner in your business who would also, maybe this would be useful for them, then by all means, I'm sure Wendy can provide a copy of this recording so they can take a look or they can speak directly to us and we can tell you more details.
Yeah, wonderful.
I'll check whether I'm free. Call will be useful. Yeah, Martin, our diary is available. So if you just scan that QR code, then you can go ahead there and you can book an appointment in. And we'd love to talk to you at a time that's going to be convenient for you. I know we've got a pretty free schedule tomorrow. So if anybody wants to speak to us tomorrow, and I think we've got some availability on Monday as well. Yeah. But all the availabilities are there whenever this is right. So if you're watching on the replay, you can also use that to book a call, and we can't wait to hear from you.
Absolutely amazing. Fantastic. Stico. Well, look, guys, I'd like to say a huge, huge big thank you. I so enjoyed that session. I
I
can't
could
tell
see
you.
you bobbing up and down when we were doing the limiting beliefs, Wendy.
I was. I hope I wasn't putting people off by jumping up and down. But not often on on a webinar that's kind of most people are sitting down, or I can see some people tonight, they're kind of lazing back on their sofas, or they're watching this in the car, or they're dealing with the kids or the dog or whatever. But it's really great to get something physical into that, and I think you did that really, really well. And I think the whole thing was very engaging, and you didn't just focus on property. You're talking about mindset, you're talking about mastery, you're talking about marketing. And these are really critical skills for any property investor, whatever they're doing, whether they're doing HMOs, single buy to lets, whether they're sourcing, refurbishing, developing. These are all skills that we all need to have to build that business. So I think it's been incredibly valuable. Yeah, lots of people are saying thank you in the chat panel now. Yeah, thank you, Martin. Thank you, Jill. Yeah, thank you so much for coming, everybody. It's been great to have you. And as Luke and Sarah have said, we obviously have recorded this tonight, so we'll be putting this out so that you can re-watch it. If there's bits you've missed, you can rewind and have another look at it. And do embed this in your learning. It's very easy to come to a session like this and go, oh, that was great, and then go to sleep and you forget all about it. But re-watch it, come back and look at the video, come back and look at the recording. It's going to be on my YouTube channel, and I'll send the links out to everybody who's registered tonight. And if you're just watching this fresh, then do feel free to contact me through the YouTube channel if you want more information and advice about property or about HMOs. But if you're interested in what Luke and Sarah do, obviously the details are there on the screen. And I know you'll have a fantastic weekend with them on their 3-day course, because if tonight's been anything to go by, you better wear your trainers, because you're going to be up and down and running around that room.
That's absolutely right, Wendy. Yes.
And we're going to have fun.
We're going to have fun. Most of all, we're going to have fun. But yes,
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Today's been great. We've had some great participation. So thank you so much to everyone that's participated and being vulnerable about these things that, sometimes are difficult to talk about. So
yeah,
really appreciate everybody sharing and getting involved.
And for everybody on the replay who's played full out, I bet you.
Exactly. Excellent. Right, guys. Thank you all very much indeed. Have a lovely evening, everybody, and speak to you very soon. Bye.